What I realized was titles are bullshit. It doesn't matter at all. Like if you are a cum laude, if you're a mania, if you have any Latin awards, in the real world, it's invisible. If I can make one sale, I can make a million more. Money should not change you. It should make you wiser and smarter. And I would say that money made me who I am today. First, I had the wrong motivations. Like I wanted money because I wanted to buy the new things, the new stuff. But I realized that I don't want to become materialistic.
Hey guys, today I am so honored to be joined by one of the most amazing people that I know in Davao and in the Philippines. I went to high school with this guy, and today we are joined by Nero Tajan, the co-founder of Club Liberty, literally turning 150,000 peso investment into his freaking first million at 20 years old while the coronavirus hit. So just imagine Victoria's Secret closing, all these big corporations closing, and Nero made his first million. Which is like, so
I'm honored.
I am so thrilled to have him on. He is again the founder of Club Liberty. He will have his own private label, and he runs his own e-commerce stores. And now he is helping people make 6 to 7 figures per month um, through having their own e-com stores as well. So without further ado, Nero Tahan.
Hey guys, this is so spontaneous. So what's up? I'm Nero Tahan, and basically I help young entrepreneurs, especially college students, earn 6 to 7 figures per month through e-commerce without wasting your time. Okay, so what's up, Angela?
I am so thrilled to have you here because, like, I remember when we first met each other, we really did not like each other, right? Let's like, I
Yeah.
think that's like so true. We didn't like each other. We were caught up in like the game of being cool in high school and pretending you had it all, even though we were broke and we relied on our
Yeah.
parents, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. When I
Totally agree.
first met you, I knew there was a part of you that wasn't really comfortable because you moved to a new school, right?
Yeah.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but for you, high school, you felt like you didn't really fit in.
Yeah, that's right. And I had a hard time before accepting the truth because high school was for me the moment that I really tried to fit in. Because since I came from a provincial school and then I transferred to the city, right? So what happened was I was culture shock. Like everything's new to me. So I was trying to fit in all the time. And I figured out that during this time, why did I try so hard to fit in when I can be different? And by being different, this was born. I was
Yeah.
born.
Love that. It's like, can you imagine, like, if you take a look at who you were back then, just like trying to fit in, can you imagine if we actually fit in? Like, we would not know. We would be broke now.
Let me tell you something. If there's one thing that I'm thankful for, that those were my failures, those were my mishaps in life. Because without those, I would not be here. I'm telling you. Like I was thankful that I went through that phase, not fitting in, like figuring out who I was, who I want to be with, figuring out my circle. Because without that moment, Ange, I'm telling you, na I'm very thankful to experience those phases because right now I know who to keep in my circle and I know the people how to filter them once I meet them, right? Like we experienced those phases in high school. Like we did not fit in. Like we were trying to be the cool kids, which we were not. And you should not try to be the cool kids because if you're not a cool kid, then deal with it because that's you, and you should be thankful and be proud of you, right? Correct me if I'm wrong.
So true. And not to like throw some shade, but like just a mere observation. The cool kids in our batch tend to
That's
flip.
a shade.
No shade, no shade. Just like an observation. It's like honest observation. The cool kids in our batch, they're like right now they have their first babies before they were even ready. And
Ooh.
it's just a lot of a lot of things that, it's like they kind of got peer pressured into it, because there's a lot of peer pressure when you're a cool kid. It's like you always have to look a
Yeah.
certain way, you always have to have a certain number of likes on Instagram, or you deleted a photo.
Yeah. I
I'm
know
guilty.
that face.
Yeah.
I went there.
And it's like you should never ever repeat a certain outfit. It's like, oh my gosh, Lizzie McGuire, you cannot be an outfit repeater. now now we're just laughing at these things, but like when we were in high school, our reputation was like a big deal. It's like reputation.
True.
So could you tell us who was Nero in high school?
Oh, so I told you before that I went to two high school basically. One is in the province and one is in the city, right? So back in the province, the Nero before in high school in the province, I was someone because I'm the son of someone, and for us, the last name of our family name or our family name matters talaga. Like it's a matter of power and influence. So back in high school, during the first 2 years in high school, I was someone and I was very egocentric. Like I can control things because I have this last name and whatnot. So as to say, we I came from an affluent family, a self-made family, but when I transferred to the city, I realized that everybody is someone, and that's the moment that hit me that I was a small fish in a big sea. Because back in the province, I was kind of the big fish in a small sea. And when I moved to the city, I it hit me that everybody is someone, and that's the moment that I really tried to prove to myself, to everybody, that I'm this person, I'm this guy, this is who I am. So it came to a point that I really tried to achieve in class because I'm an achiever and I overachieve things. So during my first few months adjusting to the culture, I was trying to recite a lot, and I also tried to remember the oath taking in the flagpole, and
Oh,
everybody laugh at me. That moment.
damn, damn,
That
damn.
moment hit me because back in my old high school, no one would dare to laugh at anything that's hilarious about what I do, because it's kind of the thing in our culture back in the province. But in the city, like, it hit me that people will bully you talaga. Like bullying is existent. It's really there. And that's my first take on bullying. Like I never felt bullied before. So the first time that I experienced that everybody laughed at me because of how I talk, because of my voice or how I speak, it hit me first that it's normal. There's nothing wrong with it. But as my teachers tried to assess me na, Nero, are you okay? Are you okay that people laugh at you? Or once people started talking about what happened, it hit me that I was bullied. And then after those phases, that's the moment also in high school that I realized that I need to prove to these people that I'm this person, I'm this guy. So that's the moment that I really tried to fit in. I tried buying new things. I asked for things that I didn't even need. So if you will ask me right now, was I happy back then that I experienced that? Yes, for that moment, because it gave me a quick amount of gratification. It's an immediate gratification to be liked by people who you want to be like. It's an immediate feeling of goodness when people recognize you because you achieve this, you achieve that. But if you'll ask me right now if I was happy of what I did back then, I was very reckless in terms of my actions, in terms of what I do. But if there's one thing that I learned is that it's all part of the phase and where you're supposed to be at right now. So I was thankful that I came through that phase because I realized when I transitioned to college and then senior high that I don't need to prove myself to anyone because I don't owe them shit. I don't owe them anything. Okay? You don't owe people anything. You just have to be you, because once you let people control your actions based on their opinion, once you let those opinions amplify in your head, every action that you take will be controlled by them. Okay? Unconsciously, every action that you take will be controlled by the opinions that you thought matters. In fact, at the end of the day, the person who will benefit from the most with your actions is yourself. So the only voice that matters is yourself. The only validation that matters is yourself. Don't seek validation from any other people, because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It will not feed your family. It will not put food on your table. So do whatever things that you like. Do everything that you want, because people will judge anyway, and let them judge. Let them see you shine. Okay, that's the
Love
thing I learned
that.
in high school.
Love that. I remember it's like, oh my gosh, Nero got a new iPad. Oh my gosh, Nero got the new whatever, right? It's like you
Yeah,
constantly like had new stuff and like people would talk about it. So I kind of figured that out because I would see you. I almost figured out that you had this bravado. And so obviously me being insecure, I'm like, this guy's totally off. Like he has a bravado and obviously I also had my own bravado. It's just like freaking hypocrite. So I love that we learned our lessons and we figure
yeah,
it out early. Because like a lot of people, they will literally be in their 50s and still care about what people think about them.
that's
And
true.
and maybe it's not
That's
about
true.
like really caring about what people think because we're human. We're bound to care about what people think, but maybe it's about caring whose opinions really matter. Caring about
Yeah,
whose
that's true.
opinion we should listen to, right? So that's Nero's before. Sorry guys, you're not gonna hear like a story from a guy who lived in a squatters area. That's not Nero. So I want to know, where are you at right now? Not just in business and life and your relationships.
Oh,
Where are you at as a human being?
I realize that the only thing constant in our lives is change and growth and change. It's one thing that's constant. So the more I dive deep into business, the more I discover myself, because my motivation why I joined business in the first place was because of the money. I want to have money, money, money. But I realized that once that cha-ching is constant in your life, like every day a new bank statement arrives, like every day $50,000 is deposited or $1,000 is deposited, it becomes constant in your life. It becomes normal. The moment I realized that, that's when it hit me that money is just a tool, nothing more, nothing less. And it hit me that being a millionaire is not about how much you earn, but it's a mindset. It's about building yourself. It's about knowing what to do with money, and money should not change you, because you are the same person who would earn 100 pesos, 1,000 pesos, and 1 million pesos. You're the same person. Money should not change you. It should make you wiser and smarter. And I would say that money made me who I am today. First, I had the wrong motivations. Like I wanted money because I wanted to buy the new things, the new stuff. But I realized that I don't want to become materialistic. So the only way for me to really um, succeed to where I wanted to be in the future is to change who I am today, like to make improvements. Not totally change myself today, because I'm thankful of who I am today, but to make improvements. Even the 1% matters per day, because small progress is still progress. So back this year, or starting this year, di ba, I joined business starting this year. So in just a span of, let's say, 9 months, because we're in September right now, I would say that I grew a lot from last year. Like this year, I discovered a lot of strategies in financing, a lot of strategies in being productive, the one thing principle, a lot. Like I started to read books this year, and I read Atomic Habits by James Clear. I read Mark Manson's The Subtle Way of Not Giving a Fuck. I read How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie,
Love that
which
book.
was yeah, which was referred by you, and I learned a lot. And I realized that it's it's a really good feeling to grow personally, spiritually, financially, because as of now, I would say that I'm really, really far from my goal of who I want to become in the future. Like I really want to become disciplined, mature. So if you would ask me right now if I'm happy where I'm at, I'm comfortable, but I'm happy, but I'm not too comfortable. You get what I mean? Like I'm happy of my disposition, but I don't want to stay here. I don't want to stay in this comfort zone. I want to explore my potential. I want to really see what I could achieve. I want to experience failure itself because I want to learn and learn and learn more. So it's if there's one thing that I really applied in my life right now, that is to embrace the risks, failure, and the uncertainties because that's the only way for us to know who we are, to discover ourselves. So it's been a fun journey with me knowing who I am today. And the Nero that if I would encapsulate everything about Nero in one word, that would be my God, I didn't think of any word before. So this is very spontaneous. That would be spontaneous. That's it, spontaneous. Like everything is unprecedented. Sometimes I don't plan my day, sometimes I plan my day. I'm very unpredictable. But the good thing about my strategy is that by being unpredictable, I'm discovering more of what to do and what not to do every day. So I would say that every day I grow, and you should grow too, basically. Who's ever watching this, you should grow every day.
Yeah. I really, really, really love that. I really love the part where you were talking about growth and, being more comfortable with yourself. And I think the reason why we're like vibing right now is because like, yeah, sure, it's like awesome to like have a million while you're like in your 20s, but like that's just a million.
Yeah,
And we're not even
yeah, that's just a
we're not
million.
we're not even in dollars yet.
Yeah, that's
Right?
true.
It's like, guys, there's a whole different level. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
I want to get to X amount. But the thing is,
yeah.
the person who wanted that certain amount, when you get to the certain amount, you're gonna be like, oh, I want something else. I want something bigger. I
Let me
want,
cut that part. Let me cut that part. 1 million pesos is just 20,000 USD. Imagine that. So if
yeah,
you want to become a millionaire, your valuation should be in dollars talaga.
yes,
Right? Okay, that's it.
so freaking true. So true. That's actually like, okay, I'm gonna say it. That's actually something that I am so looking forward to. Not just because of like the money and the currencies, like, oh my gosh, she made her first $1 million, but like, who do you have to be that person
Yeah.
who made
Yeah.
that first million
Legit.
dollars?
100.
Yeah.
That's a nice quote.
So I want you to tell us more about what was it like before you made your first million in PHP.
Oh.
Let's just call it a million. It's still a million in Philippine peso.
Okay, so who I was before making my first million? I was very self-centered, materialistic, egocentric, so full of myself. Before I made my first million, again, my main motivation talaga in entering the business world is because of the money, because I want to earn money. But in return, I discovered myself. So if there's one thing that I know that encapsulates me before, that's very selfish. I'm very selfish, and still right now, I would say that I'm selfish, but a much more kinder, selfish person. What do I mean that I still embrace my selfish side right now? Here's one thing that I've learned in life. If you want to help others, you need to save yourself first. That's
Yes.
the reason why in air flights, the flight attendant would say that in case of any emergency, put your mask first before your children.
Yeah.
And in your 20s, like right now, making your first million, you should be very selfish. You should save yourself first. You should have insurances, emergency funds, and whatnot. Because in the only way for you to help others, the people who you want to help, like the charities, the organizations, and whatnot, or your family maybe, is to save yourself first. So right now, I'm still selfish, but I'm much more a better selfish than before. So that's it.
I love how honest that is. That's like no bullshit with Nero today, guys. That's like
Yeah,
no
no bullshit.
bullshit. I
No
love
BS.
it. Yeah. So when you first started in ecom, what were your expectations? Like before you hit that first million, what
Oh.
was it like every single day? What were you doing? What were you thinking? How did it happen for you?
Oh, here's what happened. So, my journey with ecom simultaneously happened as I was taking my lessons. I'm still an accounting student, and before when I started, I'm still in a second year student in as an accountancy student in Ateneo de Davao University. So what happened was I was doing e-commerce while also balancing my academics. So at some point, I figured out that the only way for me to really make this happen and to grow grow, is to sacrifice one thing. And that one thing is the academics. So imagine as an achiever myself, like I'm really trying not to have grades below 72 or 75, right? By doing e-commerce, I failed for the first time in my life. When I started e-commerce, I was also doing my studies. So I am an accounting student at the Ateneo de Davao University. So back then, starting this year, I was still a second year student. So I realized at some point that the only way for me to really succeed in this venture, like in I was off the center zone. I realized that the only way for me to really succeed in e-commerce is to sacrifice one thing, and that one thing is my academics. So
Damn.
for the yeah priorities, right? So so
Yeah.
so um me as an overachiever, I always see to it that I'm not failing in anything or in my any subjects. But for the first time ever in my life, like in my whole life, I failed for the first time, and not just a failure of 75 or 72, not even a 70. The first time I got a failure was a 67. Imagine that.
Wow.
No, actually it's 62. 62,
Wow.
imagine that. That low. 62. That was my first failure in life. And
What's a book?
it's either I really succeed, like high grades 90 and above, or I really fail bad. And that failure was 62, right?
What
So
subject?
what happened? It's a major subject, like financial accounting and reporting.
Mm.
Intermediate accounting pala na subject. Intermediate accounting. Imagine, our major subject, 6 units. I failed it at 62. But what happened was, me as an overachiever again, I recovered, and still I'm still in the program right now as a third year student. So see,
Wow.
I failed I failed one period I failed one period by sacrificing my academics for e-commerce, but I still see to it that after I recover in e-commerce, I automate it and all, I go back to my other priorities in life. So that's one thing I learned, like really set your priorities. So that's what happened in my journey in e-commerce when I was starting. So I was really juggling a lot of responsibilities. And right now, I realize that I'm still doing the same. Like I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to start this, every idea, because as a visionary, and Angela is a visionary too. And you know this, like we want to
Yeah.
do a lot of things. We want to
Yeah.
do a lot of our projects, right? We want to start
Yes.
right now. And I
Yesterday.
realized like I asked myself now what do I want to do today, or what do I want to do this month? Like if you will see my journal, it contains a lot of things that I want to do, right? But Confucius once said that if you will chase two rabbits, you will get none.
Yeah.
So I really see to it that I only focus on one thing per time, per segment, or per period. So that's my mantra for today. Only focus on one thing, make it grow and make it successful. Yeah, that's it.
So if there are parents out there watching, please make sure that you can financially provide for one kid before you add three more.
Yeah, that's a good point. Good point.
Right? It's like
Okay.
the same logic. So
Yeah.
that said, I love how like you really touched on that. It's like, guys, that's a big deal in Asia. When like you're in an Asian family,
Yeah.
you need to. It's like you're a failure if you like get a B minus or a C in the family, and
Yeah.
you always get compared. You always get compared to your ate or to your kuya, who
True.
like is an A student, a straight A student, and why can't you be more like her or him? And
True.
like, right? That's a
Yeah.
very big
And I
deal.
also and I also want to add that in this journey, in this business industry, I realized that me as a person growing up, like for 19 years, titles mattered to me. Like I joined pageants before, like I earned titles. Like the
Yeah.
first time that I joined a pageant, it's a national competition, and I got the first runner-up title, right? it mattered to me. Like I was depressed at some point because I did not achieve the champion level. I was only the
Wow,
first runner up. Titles mattered for me before, but
dude.
you know what? I realized in business, I faced real life problems, real life decisions that would matter in the future. What I realized was titles are bullshit. It doesn't matter at all. Like if you are a cum laude, if you're a mania, if you have any Latin awards, in the real world, it's invisible. It's fucking invincible. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So that's one thing I realized. Like really invest in yourself in learning skill sets right now because in the future your skill sets that you build today would really matter.
yeah,
Like I'm not saying that it's bad to earn titles. It's a good indicator that you're really successful, but what I'm telling is in the near future, you should see to it that you should invest in yourself, which your future self would thank you for. Like if you want to learn doing cooking show right now, then do it. If you want to learn doing crochet right now, then do it. As long as you get the skill set that would that would matter in the future, then do it. But all I'm saying is the real world in your titles are invisible at all. It doesn't matter.
yeah.
That's it.
There, I like have one mania cum laude in my team, and she's like a writer for us.
Yeah.
Right now, we're actually using an AI software to like write articles for one of our clients.
Oh.
And she's like, "Oh my gosh, damn! I spent so many months in my thesis, and now we have AI." And it's a serious thing because it's like writer. It's like it's still at its infancy stage. AI is still in the machine learning stage. What what more when it
Yeah.
literally talk like a human, sound like a human, act like a human? It's like, dude, AI is coming for your jobs. It's like
Yeah,
you need to learn.
I'm shocked that AIs could do that now. Like I only learned just right now that AIs could do that.
Yeah, they could like write your whole like formal theme for you or like whatever thesis project you have there. Literally,
Is it
they're
is it
that good.
expensive? The
Dude, it's
software
free.
is it
That's
expensive?
the thing. It's
It's
free.
free?
It's free.
Oh my god. Why did I not know that before?
Dude, it's
I should search
free.
it right now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'll give
Plug
you
it.
the link. I'll give you.
Okay. Oh my god, it's free.
Dude,
All
I
this
know it.
time.
I know it's a freaking free and like it was such a real wake up call to that team member because she's like she earned her title. She's like a magna cum laude,
Yeah.
and she's like really good. She's amazing. She's amazing. But that said, that's a human. We have AI. It's free. It doesn't need to take a day off. It doesn't need to complain. It doesn't need to have like benefits, right?
Yeah.
So it's like a serious thing. It's a serious thing. Like right now, you can't get complacent that just because you were first honor or you were like you had a title in today's world that doesn't mean shit anymore.
Yeah. Agree. Totally agree.
Yeah. So that's a whole crazy like rabbit hole that we can dive into right there. But what I want to know now is, dun, 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 what was it what was it like for you when you made your first million?
Oh, okay. There's this thing called the anticipation of success. And when you have that moment, like you're expecting that maybe in my first million, I would celebrate. Like I would go out, I would take a vacation, or I would blow my money away right away. But because I was building that moment up, the moment that I hit in my sales like 1 million, 1.1 million, one something like that. The moment that I hit my 1 million mark, it's just normal, and it
Yeah,
felt normal, and 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 it's kind of off that it feels normal to me. Like it's not any special moment, but I really treasured the momentum of anticipating for the success because that's what matters. The process itself. It's one thing that I've learned that the results are not important. What's important is the process itself of going through that result, going to that result. Yeah.
yeah,
So that's it.
it's so true,
I was
right?
like, yeah,
Yeah, go
in
ahead.
poker face.
So
Oh,
true.
oh,
So true. So freaking true. It's like you think it would be this like amazing moment where,
yeah,
angels sing and heaven would open. But it's
yeah,
really it's like super. Okay, so I made my first million. Now what? It's just that moment. It's like not this whole thing that people think is like it's like it's just a million. You're not gonna live off of that. It's probably just like 2 years of your life on expenses and everything and inflation.
yeah. How about you? I I I want to know what's your first impression when you made your first million.
When I made my first million, I was like, okay, this is it. I was, I was still the same person. My mom still made me clean the freaking like bathroom we have here, and she still yells at me because I don't know how to do chores for the freaking life of me. And it's literally super normal. Like my family treated me the same, and I still am like the same crazy person I am. I just have like a million in like revenue even, right? It's
Yeah.
not it's not like this. It's not that. Sorry
Yeah.
guys, it's like we're not trying to like sound better or like be a buzzkill, but it's
Yeah.
literally like that. It's like when you get to that first million mark, it's like okay, because I feel like it sounds cheesy, and it's like this is something that I need to remind myself of every single day. It's like, dude, it's not the achievement, it's not the summit, it's
Yeah.
not getting up to the top of the mountain, because when you're on top of the mountain, it's like you're gonna see a whole new world again, and it's gonna be you're gonna be in front of
Yeah.
so many mountains that are bigger and like taller, and now you want to get down the mountain you were on so you can climb another mountain.
That's what I'm saying before, that money should not change you because you're the same person who made 100 pesos, 1,000 pesos, and 1 million pesos. It should not change you at all. Yeah. So basically, if you would ask us, Siguro, like maybe Champ also, if what when he made his first million, he's the same and you're still the same. So basically, you're still the same person when you made your first million.
And to like really excite you guys, maybe people get excited, but honestly, like
Yeah.
there's a point we're not even like at our goals yet, right? We're not
True.
bragging or anything, but we're literally just like saying facts that coming up to that first million would like take months and months, and then there would
Yeah.
be like getting to the next million would like take just weeks
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
even
True.
less than the first million. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like my first mantra was the moment that I made my first sale, if I can make one sale, I can make a million more. If I can make one
Yeah.
peso, I can make a million more. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know that this may sound like condescending to others, like especially it's a pandemic and we're earning this much. What I realized was it's just a journey of discovering yourself when making money. So it's
And
really, really fun.
can I be honest with you?
Yeah, sure, sure.
I
Girl,
have a
I'm honest since before.
I know. Like I have this client who does who has done like 9 figures in US dollars in sales.
Whoa.
And he has been mentored by Tony Robbins, and like literally he spent like 1,440 hours, like 1,400 hours with Tony himself. And this guy's businesses, because he's an entrepreneur, obviously, like entrepreneurs are some of the very like rare people who get to make that kind of money because they
Yeah.
solve people's problems. This guy's two businesses failed 2 years ago. So
Like failed bankrupt.
like he owed people 7 figures and he's still in the process of paying people. Like
Whoa.
he has like $2 million in debt that he's already paid. So oh my god, I'm kind of scared. I'm honestly like,
Yeah.
I'm scared because I know that life is gonna be in cycles, and just because we're like we're
Yeah.
well right
Yeah,
now
yeah.
because of the pandemic does not mean we're gonna be here forever. We're gonna fucking crash at one point. We haven't hit a rock bottom yet, and like I have a friend who tells me that early success is the worst teacher, and I've been having like a lot of early successes, and I'm like holy shit, I'm kind of like scared to. I
You
know
know
I
what?
yeah
Yeah, go. You know what? That's what I've been telling Champ, my partner
yeah
in the Club Liberty. I'm afraid that I did not experience the same failure that any mentors experience. Like I did not experience losing money. I did not experience any bankruptcy. I did not owe people any money before.
that's
And one thing that I'm
that's
really really afraid and one thing that I'm really really afraid right now is the fact that at some point it might happen to me. But
yeah,
you know
it's
what?
gonna
I
happen.
keep I keep on telling myself that I don't expect fail. I mean, I expect failure, but I'm not letting that happen to me. Like like you know what I mean. That you know it's going to happen, but as much as possible, I'm not going to let it happen to me. That's why
Mm,
I take my every step talaga in full calculations because I want to really make it possible that I will minimize the failure. But if there's one thing that I realize, because I was really thinking this before, that what's something that I would share as my failure or my big failure in life, right? Like losing money, like something like that. So what I did was I listed all the things, all the bad things that happened to me, even the small things um like um I drive the car towards a post and I crashed the car, like something like that. Small
dude.
failures or big failures. I listed every one of them. And what I realized was I actually experienced a lot of failure, and these failures are also lessons. And one thing I noticed was we everybody and everyone experience failures. Like even you experience micro failures, just not the same failures that you thought it's going to happen to you. Like we experience different failures. May it be financial failure, physical failure, or psychological failure. Like we've been through that. All the mental stress, every mental trauma, every everything that we've surpassed before, those were all failures. So that's what I'm telling to myself, that I'm afraid that the same thing's going to happen to me. Like I'm going to owe people money in the future. Like I'm going to fail a lot in the future. But also I'm anticipating it. But as much as possible, I'm telling myself na, yes, there's failure, but who would let that happen, right? Yeah. So I'm trying my best not to let it happen. But girl, that hit me hard. Like it's going to really, really happen to us.
Yeah. The thing is, I want to say that what I learned so far is because I try, I know it's gonna happen, right? I know failure is gonna hit us. Like maybe it's a time when so many people are doing well and we're gonna get poor or something like that, or we get broke because we owe people money because our businesses failed. What I learned is that failure, when you're in a really low point, that is usually a sign, for me anyway, that is usually a sign that you're gonna bounce and you're gonna skyrocket
Yeah.
back up. Because it's like when you think of like bow and arrow, you need to draw back the string so the arrow could just like fly higher than it could ever like on its own if you just like throw it with your hand. So that's what I'm trying to do to not be afraid of it. Because like think about it, Nero. Like what if you lose Club Liberty? What if like Facebook won't allow you to run ads anymore? What if you literally
Yeah.
stop having sales tomorrow? And then after that event, you make your first billion. Wouldn't you want to fail now if you know that like at on the other hand,
Yeah.
you make your first billion?
Yeah. But still, like, it sounds easy, right? But the
Yeah,
moment that it really happened, you would really question everything. And
yeah,
we've been through that before. Like,
yeah,
during the process of, like, before we get the results, it's, yeah. So one thing I realized was during the moment that you said to yourself that this business is going to make me money, it excites you, right? So
yeah,
you start building your empire, you start doing the process. But the moment that you're close to your end goal or to your end point, you start to question everything, that am I doing this right? is this enough? Is this what I want to do in life? There's a certain point that you would question the process. But the moment that you get the results, you would really, really feel happy. But then the next question comes like, what's my next what's my next responsibility after this? Yeah. So that's the main process talaga. There's a certain point that when it hit you, that the moment you failed, you would question everything. Like it's like a breaking point for you. It's like, should I continue or should I totally give up?
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
that's what separates us, having this mindset. Like as long as I'm growing, we're gonna pursue.
Yeah. And I think it helps that we're like, fuck what you think of me. I don't give a shit. It's like we're done.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. You know what? If there's one person that I know who doesn't really give any bullshit, that's you, Ange. Yeah. Like legit.
yeah, I guess like I've had to go through things where I literally the only way for me to go forward was for me to not give a shit. So I've had those experiences as well, right? And it's not just like oh, like I don't really I popped out of my mom's vagina not giving a shit about what anyone thinks. It's really not like that. Like I had to overcome some things too. And speaking of things to overcome, what did you have to overcome to get to where you are now?
Oh. Um
Napahinga ka dun ah.
a lot. And I'm what's going on in my mind right now is that I'm thinking what should I share to you because there were a lot of things that I need to overcome, like discovering myself, my habits, my spending habits. But one thing that I could share is I need to overcome my perception of time because time is really my enemy. Like I come to class late every time, every event I was late, and that's like inherent to me. Like people associate me with being late. And if there's one thing that's very ironic to in business, timing really matters. Like timing is
Ah,
everything
dude.
because time is money. So if
Yeah,
there's one thing that I really need to break is my concept of time itself, that I need to value my time because we only have 24 hours per day. And how come people maximize the time that they have, right? And minus the sleep, if you sleep for like 6 hours, you only have like 18 hours per day. And you have to make it really happen. For 18 hours, you have to change something. You have to get things going for you to run a business, an empire, if you really want to succeed. So still right now, I would not say that I'm perfect because I'm still learning. And right now, just yesterday, actually, I started implementing my new strategy and building my time habits. So yeah, it's still an ongoing process right now. So it's still really a process of growth for me.
yeah.
Time,
I,
right?
I think I'll give you like the notes I have from this $5,000 program. It's called like Zero to Dangerous, and I learned so much about like time and everything. Because I know, we may have. I know it's like time when you have the money. Time is like the next big thing. It's like yeah, you're spending
Yeah.
all your time in your business. How about your family? You know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. And you
and
know what?
yeah, go ahead,
And
go
you
ahead.
know what, like I was doing my for planning, right? Because there's some point in our entrep lives that we plan out 10 years from now, 30 years from now, and whatnot. And it really hit me like our lives are fucking short. Like we're not going to live forever. Like I want to build a fucking legacy for myself that people would know me for, that I only made it myself. Like that's why I call myself self-made, because I want to build an empire that people would associate and thank me for by helping that change their lives. And I realized that 10 years from now, my smart goal is only this far. And I'm afraid that I could not achieve everything that I want to achieve in my life. That's one of my fears, like not achieving the things that I'm planning to achieve. Yeah. Before I retire, perhaps. If I retire. That's it. Go on.
So there's this thing that Derek Sivers said in like the Tools of Titans by Tim Ferriss. He said that you it's like imagine there's a donkey and you would, like, the donkey is hungry and it's thirsty. There's hay here and there's water here. For some reason, like the donkey, he doesn't know, or it doesn't know if it should eat first or if it should drink water first. So it didn't make a decision. And because it didn't make a decision, it ended up dying. And even though he already had like the resources he needed. So what Derek Sivers was trying to say there was right now, because he, to give you some context, he was like 28. He was in a circus, I think. At 28 years old, he was in a circus, not very rich. And then
Wow.
he goes on to like make a multi-million-dollar business. And he's like retired now
Wow.
with his family. So
Wow.
it's like his message he was trying to say there was that we could do the things we want. It's like what Tony Robbins does too. It's like people overestimate what they can do in a day and they underestimate what they can do in 10 years.
Yeah.
So
That's totally me right now.
I know because it's me too. It's like I know the feeling, but it's like we need to remind ourselves that, you know, life, even though it's short, we do have time to really set out to do the things that matter and the things that we want to achieve and set out the legacy that we want to build. So it's just literally a matter of, do you want to drink water first or do you want to like pick the hay first? But regardless, for as long as we take action and for as long as like we think about what we want to build and what truly matters to us, even if, let's say, even if we die early, at least we were still working towards something that we believed in.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm literally writing everything right now. Like it matters to me. Those words.
Love it. In terms of like, in terms of believing, who was your biggest believer?
Like a fan or my idol.
Pretty much the person who believed in you even when you didn't have anything.
Oh. Um, I would say my mom. Very cliche, right? But I would say my mom because I I'm a very secretive and conservative person. Like I'm very reserved, and every business that I owned before, like franchising, digital marketing, and whatever, she she have no ideas at all. The only business that she's aware of that I'm doing is this one, the e-commerce one. And I started telling her that when I achieved success, right? And I know that she's aware of what's happening in my life, what's going on, but she never said a word. Like if something bad happens to me, she never said a word. I mean, she would reprimand me for doing that and that, but she never turned me down like you can't achieve that, you can't do that. Like if there's one thing I learned was when building a business, a lot of people will oppose you. Whatever you do, a lot of people will negate you, will oppose you, will question what you're doing right now. But what I learned was always seek for opinion that only matters to you. Like if it's a big deal to you, only ask for that person's opinion. That's what I realized in making big decisions. So I would say that my mom is my biggest believer, and she's my idol too. Like
Wow.
she's god level idol.
That's so cute. Super same. Like my mom definitely has been my biggest believer. And I fucked up
Yeah.
like so many times.
Yeah. I'm reading your blogs
Yeah.
and it's really
So
real. It's raw.
what do you do now to invest in yourself? And all right, let's rephrase this question. If Nero were totally broke, like had
Good question.
zero to his name during this pandemic, what would you do to invest in yourself?
Hmm. Um, but what resources do I have? Like, I still have my
Oh,
phone, right? My internet connection.
yeah, you're still Nero. You're not.
Yeah. Okay.
Gonna live. You're not gonna be poor or like whatever. You just have like $0. Like zero. To
Okay. the thing that I would do is to really choose a business that I know that I'm good at. Yeah, here's my take on this. So there's this thing called SWOT analysis, right? Like we should assess our strength, weaknesses, and whatnot. What most people do and what schools advise us is to work on our weaknesses. But if there's one thing I learned in business was work on your strengths. Because no matter how good you become in your weaknesses, it's still gonna bore you at the end of the day. Because that's called your weaknesses because you don't find it appealing at all. So work on your strengths. And my strength is basically creating ideas and um basically selling anything to people like closing deals. I really find it amusing and amazing, like the dynamics of the personality of your clients and all. It's amazing to discover their personalities and all. So the first thing that I would do if I have nothing in my bank account right now, if I have nothing in my name but I have my phone, my wi-fi or free connection or whatever, is I would scroll through Facebook, see the sponsored ads, like learn this, learn that. So I would sign up in this free email class or whatever, and I would observe every email marketing strategy that they would tell me or whatever. The next thing that I would do is I would create a list of people that I know who have good connections, and I would, like, per se I only have 50 pesos. I would buy myself a phone load and start calling those people. Hey, can you refer or do you know one person who knows this or that? Or do you know one person who will be interested in investing in this business or that? I would call every people that I know have good connections and start building my referrals, my email list, my phone number list. So the moment that it's a good question. Like I found a book that asks people, like Russell Brunson worked on this book. Like he asked 30 millionaires about what would they do if they lose money. And I'm still on that course right now. So anyway, going back to what I would do. So I would call people about referrals if they could invest in me and whatnot. And even if I would succeed or fail by doing that, what I got at the end of the day is the skill set of closing deals to people. Because at the end of the day, quantity versus quality, always focus on the quantity. Because if you will focus on the quality, yes, you would perfect the idea, but what really teaches you is the execution of that idea. So I would rather choose calling 100 people rather than spending my 24 hours building a perfect funnel script, right? Of how to close a deal. So I would rather choose calling 1,000 people and learning from my experience. So that's my take on it. That's how I build my empire from scratch.
Love it, guys. People who would want to like register on the club. Look, Nero has a new course. It's called "How to Build Your Empire from Scratch." Oh my god!
That's
I can't.
actually a good idea, and that
Yeah,
came up
right.
from nothing.
Yeah, yeah. Self-made. So
Okay, what's next?
I can't believe that it's been like an hour. I freaking enjoyed this
No
interview.
way.
I know.
It's an hour already.
I enjoyed this interview with you. And tell us where we can find you. Where can people learn more about you if they wanna check out the Club Liberty? Where can they go for that?
Oh, basically, all my handles are at Nero Tahan. You can check me out at Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. It's Nero Tahan. And for the Club Liberty, just search at your search bar, theclubliberty.com, and you're there. Or find us at Facebook, theclubliberty.com. So right now, we're still at our pre-launching phase. So we're still building on our course itself because we're still on the process of automation. So expect us to see our posts and our publication materials on October siguro or on November. So that's it, guys.
Wow.
That's it, Ange.
All right, complete this sentence. Nero Tahan is the human who.
Human who is self-made, purely self-made.
Love that. Love that. Love that. All right, you guys, that is it for Nero's whole journey on
Oh,
how he went from this kid who was super scared to fail to making his first million at the age of 20. Thank you so much for
uh,
bye guys.
uh, well,